not with many syllables. Or your face is extra, enormous big. You know, if I use that word, yeah, maybe I would sound more sophisticated. So what? It wasn't that funny. So use simple and short phrases or vocabulary. And next, time management. This is very, very important. Because after the spring convention this year, I make myself a new nickname. Please call me 2 seconds. Why is that? Because I went over time this year. I was smiling now, but my heart was bleeding. Why I knew it? Because why do I know it? Because one of my friends, he was videotaping the whole contest. So he just counted the time for every speaker, and I knew. So he sent me the record, and I know that I was over time. So time management is very, very important. Remember my lesson. Pauses. You can see that I have the examples I just demonstrated. I use pauses to intrigue the humor. See that I have pause. If I say 20, 25, 20, 30 something, you don't see the humor. And if I say, well, your eyes are not too big, they are not too small. And I pause. But your face is too big. You see that pause to strengthify, to enhance the humor. The pauses are magicians. You can like putting the facial lift for your speech. And economic words. Since your time is limited, you only have 5 to 7 minutes for a speech. Don't explain too much about your humor. If your joke has explanation, drop it. Don't use it, because when you explain, the humor, love again. And I like to share with you the 301 strategy. It's actually called 31 strategy. We all know that the first 30 seconds for a speech is crucial. You got to get the audience to laugh. Because laugh is like facilitator. Make a bound between you and the audience, and you can immediately attract the audience attention. So, how do we make that 301 strategy? At least you got to make people laugh, make audience laugh in the first 30 seconds. Make the first laugh. So that's the third 301. So design. You say how? How do I design that 301? Make one laugh every other 30 seconds. How do we do that? Of course, you got to collect. You got to collect the information, like the materials I just mentioned in the previous part. We just said. So now, find your own humor. How do we find those materials? Because I changed the order. Because you are the students, you must have a lot of resources when you in your school, like between you and your classmates, teachers, and I don't know, when you're taking the exam, when you are cheating, when you are like you're flunk. Those terrible experiences, you still can find some humor from it. And also the family relationship, the most often used is husband and wife. Last year for convention, I didn't see the contest, but I heard that the champion was talking about her relationship with her husband, who went to China, and it has a great possibility about her. So that story make her a championship. So the most often used relationship in the family is husband and wife, but if you are so young, you don't have, you can write something about your mom and your dad, their husband and wife, right? And you can write, like my 2006 speech. It was about my mom, and my date. So there's a relationship between me and my mom. You can find anything to fill into the blank. And work, like my work, just like I have in this year's speech. And also the age. Okay, age I use. The age is often used as well. You can like whether you are young or old, but the middle age is not easy. But because it is not that much old and not that much younger. So it is better for you to be older or younger. And I happen to be the And the language. How do we say the language? I have a friend. He told me a joke. I have to say it in Chinese because she came from the United States to Taiwan to learn Chinese. And one day she told me that, Sammy, because she wants to learn Mandarin, so every time she talks to me, she uses Mandarin. Sammy, 我真的很喜欢你们台湾小吃，还有台湾的一切的东西，台湾茶，我最喜欢台湾国语。So, the language. I mean, it won't be so funny if it was from a Taiwanese. But it was so funny because it's from a foreigner. Like Tom Ashby, the champion of the 2005 humorous speech contest. He's a foreigner. He's from the United States. He's talking about, anybody remember that? It's talking about the fortune teller. And he went to the fortune teller, and the fortune teller just read his palm and said that, oh, you've got a very short lifeline. And he was terrified. He wants to live longer. So he was saying, okay, now use a knife to cut this, to make it longer. To use a knife, cut his palm, and make it longer. So it was so funny. You should see it from our District 67 website. He used that since he's in the different background, the cultural background. So when he was using the cultural differences, that was so effective and make people laugh. So cultural differences in language, most of all, Toastmasters. We are all Toastmasters. So you can see that there are plenty of examples used for making people laugh in speeches. But remember one thing, if somebody uses it, don't use it again, because it lost its freshness. You can use the Toastmaster terms or occasion situations to get people involved in the scenario. But remember that, because some people was repeatedly using it and it won't be that effective. And the internet materials, I'll let you decide. Is that one that we can put into this blank? How many of you have been using the internet materials like jokes or the examples from the internet? Okay, you. Good. I admit I used one in my 2006 humorous speech, but not in the national context, but in the area and division. That is the one I was talking about. I was having a day, and I would call my friend if that day was too ugly. She has to save me by calling me that like something urgent and I have to leave something. And that joke I applied from the internet. But my mentor, Helen Chen, she suggested not to use that one. First, I don't have time. And second, some people might hear it before, so she suggested not to use it. And it proved that she was right. She was right, so I didn't use it, fortunately, or I will be definitely overtime in that year. So, internet materials, definitely a no. And one more thing, the